everybody. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Flint's Best Buns, the newest podcast, the newest thing in Flint and Genesee County. I'm one of your hosts, Dale Weighill. I'm affiliated with a lot of different organizations in terms of my volunteering, and I work at Mott College. And here's our other co-host to my far right.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Harrison. I know you guys remember me, the best buns in town. I used to have this awesome bakery. I made the best cinnamon rolls ever. Well, I'm no longer downtown, but I'm still in business. And to my left, I have the most gorgeous Rebecca. Rebecca is affiliated with Flint Watershed Coalition. And she's a pretty redhead too, as well.
and I'll say
natural.
To my right, we have Kathleen Gazall, who works at her family's architectural company, Gazall Lewis and Associates, located in the Mott Foundation building. You have probably seen Kitty through her window. Looks kind of like an aquarium or a terrarium, the fishbowl. But Kitty's also really, really involved in community efforts to bring back downtown Flint, to enliven our community through Alley Fest, through the Watershed Coalition, and through a number of other organizations and volunteer efforts. So the rationale behind Flint's Best Buns, which is the name of our new show, is that we've got a lot of good folks in this community who we're referring to as our best buns. Take off on Evelyn's slogan from when she was in business downtown.
And it's still alive and well and full of yeast. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say? Okay.
Well, you're gonna have to bleep that one out. So let's get rolling. We wanna introduce you to these two ladies and all the work that they're doing as professionals, but also as volunteers and people who are committed to Genesee County and Flint. So, Evelyn, you want to start off with some questions for Rebecca and Kitty?
Yeah. Well, for my precious redhead, Rebecca. Rebecca. Would you believe it or not, never really heard of the Flint Watershed Coalition? I'm so sorry. I really am. I just stay in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? But tell me a little bit about that. How did it get started? How did you get involved with that?
So the Flint River Watershed Coalition has been around for 20 years now.
Wow.
But we're just, we're getting to the point now where we're, we are working really hard to get out there into the community more.
Wonderful.
We work 1,300 square miles. So Genesee County, Lapeer County, 142 river miles. We have this amazing resource right here in our community. You don't have to spend 4 hours or your whole weekend going up north. We've got all the opportunities right here in our community. And so what we do, our mission is to protect, promote, and improve that resource. And so we're really trying to get out there and engage people and get them more involved in the watershed and then joining us to help protect it.
That is so wonderful. So you mean tell me I can go up north?
No, you can stay right here.
I can stay right here
and go
and enjoy
paddling with us and fishing and bird watching and all
water
of that.
testing too, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep. So we for 20 years now we've been doing water quality monitoring across the entire watershed. We have a fabulous resource. We know that we have a really healthy river system. It's getting healthier every day. And like I said, we just want people to get out and use it and love it and work with us to help protect it.
So I have a two-part kind of follow-up.
Okay,
May I intervene?
Yes, you may.
May I interject? Rebecca, so a couple things. Tell us, we obviously know what the Flint River is, right? But what is a watershed? That's the first thing. And secondly, you mentioned the health of the watershed and the river are getting better and better. That probably surprises some people who think that the river has a lot to do with the lead issue and the other water issues that people are having. So big picture, what's a watershed? And then a more specific question, tell us about the health of the river compared to the water crisis and how that relates.
Sure. So a watershed is basically an area of land that drains to a single point. So when it rains or the snow melts or anything like that, that water finds its way into a river or a stream or a lake. And then all of that water basically runs downhill to a certain point. So there's lots of different sizes of watersheds. So right now we're in the Flint River watershed, which is part of the Saginaw Bay watershed, which is part of the Lake Huron watershed, which is part of the Atlantic Ocean watershed. So it just, all of those things and eventually drain to the same place. It's like a funnel, if you think about it that way.
So are they draining to the Atlantic, or are they draining to Lake?
Yep. So all of our water here ends up in Saginaw Bay, and then eventually Lake Huron, and then makes its way through out
St. Lawrence Seaway.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Impressive.
So we say here in the Flint River that we're actually the headwaters of Lake Huron.
Wow.
Okay.
To make that connection with people.
And so what about the water that comes out of the tap? We've had issues with that. Flint water crisis. I think most folks, even internationally, are familiar with that. Tell us how the river is connected or not connected to that.
Yeah, so when the city decided to make that switch to the Flint River as the drinking water source, we were supportive of that because we have the long-term monitoring data that shows that we have a river that's fully supportive of aquatic life. And we know that it was treatable, that it's treatable to drinking water standards, just like lots of communities around the country use their local river as a drinking water source. We knew that the river was suitable for that.
Suitable if treated.
If treated.
And that's the key thing, right?
Yeah. So river water has, and this is the same with the Flint River or any other river, has a different water chemistry than a large body of water like Lake Huron, which is where our water had been coming from and then being treated. So the water chemistry is just different, and that's just because it's a river. So when you have a river, you have these more constant inputs, so sediment and just like animals and everything else. Yeah. It's a different type of aquatic system. So the water chemistry is different. It's not bad. It's just different. So what had happened with the drinking water crisis was that they neglected to add these corrosion control agents to the water, which was, it was dollars that they were saving every day by not adding this corrosion control.
Even though some were advocating behind the scenes for it, they got overruled because of the money. Yeah. It
was what
lots of back and forth.
Yeah. So when you consider the horrendous impacts to people's lives, the amount of money that we've since had to spend to correct this, and they were saving, I forget what the number was now, but it was like $20 a day by not adding this corrosion control to the pipes. It's horrible what happened, but it wasn't the river. This was 100%.
And people continue to enjoy the river in many ways through you or on their own. You've got a flotilla event coming up, and I think Kitty has maybe some involvement in that too.
I do.
So would you talk a little bit about your involvement with the Watershed Coalition and the?
Well, I learn something new every day from Rebecca, and I'm very grateful that she's kind of brought me aboard, so to speak.
Wonderful.
I am chair of the Flint Quarter Alliance chapter, and we do all kinds of things, including the flotilla, but I just want to back up for a second and say that last evening I got on the river with some friends through the Watershed Coalition. So we launched, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Did you see the eagle?
Yes, we did. There were 3 of them.
We only saw one.
Okay.
So are these bald eagles on the river? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So there was about 20 people that showed up for the
23
paddle.
total, yeah.
Yeah. So you just,
wow.
Yeah, we launched at Tenacity Brewing, and we went down through Mott Park and towards Flushing, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Were you on like a big inflatable unicorn?
No, I had.
That's a couple weeks.
So far, it sounds kind of boring.
So back to that, the flotilla is going to be a great event every year. It gets bigger and bigger.
And what's the date of that again?
August 4th.
August 4th. Okay, which is a Saturday.
Yeah.
So now, is there going to be a fee for that, or is that just free, or?
Yeah, there is a fee, and I think it's $20, but
$20 for 20 minutes, or
no, it's a couple. It's as long as you want to make it. So this is just a fun event where we're trying to get a ton of people out on the river all at once. So last time we did it, we had pretty close to 200 people. We're hoping to get closer to 300 this year.
What do they get for $20?
They get to help raise funds.
Okay.
The important thing. It is a fundraiser.
And that goes to you. You're a nonprofit organization.
Right. And then it's a really fun time out on the river. So we get this huge mass of people out onto the river, and we've got people from kayaks to homemade rafts to inflatable unicorns.
Awesome.
To
are you gonna do it?
Now you've piqued my interest all of a sudden.
We're gonna get you on the river, and you too.
Yes,
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm expecting you both to be there.
Only if you're going to have a fish fry at the finishing line.
Oh,
Did I?
Well, maybe you could be in charge of the
You
fish
think
fry.
I could?
You,
I think I could
you're a
fry
chef.
fish or two.
We might be able to do that because we are looking to do. We've got the steel drum band from the Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Nice.
So they're going to be performing, and we want to make it sort of a party atmosphere afterwards. The theme this year is Float to Paradise, and so we're going to have palm trees and all that kind of
Do
stuff.
people just show up? Do they need to register? Where do they call or go to for more information?
They can register online, and so just visit our website, flintriver.org, and you can get to it through there.
Okay.
Or you can just show up the day of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is. I mean, there's lots of people. They're standing on the overpasses and the bridges and cheering you on.
So it's like the Crim of the river.
Yeah.
People cheering you on.
Exactly.
But it's
there's no competition. It's a total.
Oh yeah, it's very relaxing.
Leisurely.
Yeah, you don't have to paddle if you don't want to. If you want to, that's fine. But you can just float on down.
Pretty soon you're in the Atlantic.
Exactly.
Bye, Evelyn.
Bye, Dale.
You guys should do it. It takes about 2 hours.
2 hours.
If you're just floating.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That does sound very nice.
And so, one of the unique parts of this stretch of the river is that it flows through what used to be Chevy in the Hole and is now Chevy Commons.
Seriously?
So we've got, the concrete
Chevy
banks
in the
and everything
Hole.
through there. So it's kind of a unique river experience.
Yeah.
It's a very urban river experience, but it's interesting to be down in there and see that perspective of the industry
And then you
that was
turn
there.
the corner, so to speak, and then you're in the Mott Park area, which is all greenery and trees and all of that.
Yeah.
So
my. It sounds great.
It's so
Dale?
It's so much fun.
it is.
You want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
You could do a
All right.
live remote.
Let's do it.
Oh
Live remote
yes.
on the river.
Yes.
John, can we do this? Can we take your entire
John,
studio,
what do you think?
put it on a boat?
John?
John's totally not responding.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I was just checking something else out. Sorry.
Okay, John.
I had to take the headphones off from that to go across the room.
Ready to come out and
Okay.
enjoy the
Yeah.
river.
So I think that's a no. But we'll report on it after the fact.
I would love that.
on a following podcast.
Yeah.
So, Kitty,
Yes.
you're involved in other things besides.
I am. I try
Tell
to-
us about the history of that and why you got involved in Flint and why you're so passionate about it.
Well, Flint is obviously where I work and where I live, and I want it to be a great city, and I want to help change the narrative of what everybody thinks Flint is. I don't want to be defined by the water crisis, even though it's important and we're moving forward with solving the lead issue. But I want people to think it's a place to go to do things. And with our colleges and our small businesses, we're becoming, of course, less and less of a GM town and more of a college town. So I wanted to create events and opportunities for when people come to visit Flint, there are things to do.
Yeah.
And last Saturday was our 8th annual Alley Fest. It was Buckham Alley Fest, but we've expanded that.
Yeah.
And Kitty Cat?
Yes.
That was your idea.
Well, it was a team. It was a small
Come
group
on
of
now,
us.
listen.
Small group of us.
Let's talk, honey.
It was.
That was your baby. Because I remember when you came, we had a conversation, and you said, I think it was at the Torch, you mentioned, you said, I want to do something with my alley. And I says, like what? And you may not recall this conversation. Okay, but I do. And you said, well, I just want to light up the alley. And in that conversation, I says, well, when you light up Buckham Alley, then we're going to light up Brush Alley.
We did that. We did that. Yeah.
So that was your baby.
Sounds like it might have been yours.
I should have been mine. I don't get no credit.
I want to say that I don't remember any conversation I've ever had at the Torch.
That's true.
Put it that
Sponsored
way.
by the Torch.
But yeah, Kitty was there at the beginning.
Well, the first issue that I wanted to do was get the alley paved, because after the first Buckham Alley, the alley needed to be resurfaced. And
you did a wonderful
so that was hard. But we have a great group of people
Yeah.
that have taken this event to the next level.
Wow, it's awesome.
So we're expanding it, which I think is the next step as we expand and grow downtown Flint, and as we grow our downtown out centrally. It's important to grow your events because.
Now, how many years now?
It was the 8th one.
This is the 8th.
Yeah.
Wow, it doesn't seem like it's been
This
that
is the
long.
first time you've gone across Saginaw to Brush Alley, am I right?
It was the
second time?
second time.
Okay.
Last year we had limited things in Brush, and
Okay.
so we're learning, and hopefully next year we'll go down to the 600 block of Brush.
And for the folks
Oh,
watching who
wonderful.
don't know where Brush Alley is, it runs on the east side of Saginaw Street,
Yes.
behind the first row of shops and stores and the Mott Foundation.
It actually starts right at 3rd Street and goes north.
Yes.
I would say further down the Masonic, but that's kind of like that's not really the alley part.
Right.
Would you
It's
say-
more of there's some parking.
It's parking
yes,
space
for
there.
the churches.
Mhm.
But in actuality, it's from 3rd Street all the way to First. Yeah, yeah.
So
In the one of the big things that you all have done as an organization, Friends of the Alley, is the lighting project. Could you talk a little bit about that for people who may be watching who don't realize that those lights were...
So in the very beginning, I think it's the first 5 or 6 Buckham Alley Fest, we strung lights ourselves manually from building to building, and it took a long time, and it was nerve-wracking, and but once we had them up, everybody loved them. And so I think after one of the events, we said, let's just keep them up and see what happens.
It really changed the atmosphere.
It did.
Yeah,
And
they're beautiful.
It created a buzz,
magical
and it created a great
environment.
public space.
And lit up the alley.
Yeah. So we decided, we could do a crowdfunding campaign through the Michigan Economic Development, and that if we raised $50,000, they would match that.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
this community stepped up, and we did it.
They did it.
100,000 plus.
Yes, and we decided, well, our mission is to beautify alleys, so let's work on brush. And so we did that, and that was successful as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
it's
love
been
brush
fun. It's a lot of hard work, but it's fun. And once you see that you've changed the landscape of downtown permanently, it gives you a sense of accomplishment.
You got your Flint.
Yeah,
sign
so
up now, too.
there's a flood of
I
people
saw
coming
that
around
Flint sign.
taking
Where
pictures.
is that
We'll call it Brush Park Flint. So where Genesee Towers used to stand.
Yeah,
It's a green space.
I just took a picture of myself with it, but from the wrong angle. So it says Tenolf.
Where are
People
you
are
from?
like, where are you?
Where are you? Okay.
Oops.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, that's wonderful.
You take a lot of pictures of yourself. I didn't know that.
Thanks, Kitty.
I just want to keep doing, things to.
Well, you're doing wonderful things,
Yeah,
Kitty
and
Cat.
it's fun.
Well, what
I
advice do
just
you give
love
to
it.
someone who wants to aspire to be like you? And same with you, Rebecca, your involvement. I mean, your dedication to the Watershed Coalition and this community. What advice do you have people who are just starting out? Maybe these, high school students or just into college or out of college, and they want to devote time to Flint. What do you recommend?
Show up, step up, and do ask questions. If you want to be part of something, just find out who to contact, and they'll open you with open arms.
They can contact you. I bet you get a lot of contact.
Well,
people.
I can connect them to the right people, right organizations. That happens a lot, especially with a lot of the nonprofits.
Sure.
We kind of utilize each other's expertise and knowledge.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rebecca?
I'd say find something that you're passionate about. So, like, my involvement with the Watershed Coalition began as a volunteer, and I was doing water quality testing, and then joined the board, and then eventually came on as staff. And so it was. I mean, I am in the position now where I get to work at what my passion is, and I feel very lucky that's the case.
Yeah.
But that's really the thing is even if your day-to-day job is something you're not necessarily passionate about, find that thing outside of you that you're passionate about.
Right.
And
And dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, it's just like you and I, Dale. We're so passionate about getting good information out to Flint.
Yeah.
that
We're passionate about our
that we're
best
doing
buns.
this podcast.
It's really good to see
I
you.
love it.
We
It's
miss
always
you.
good.
We miss you.
Look, I feel it. I feel it deep down.
You think you should come back?
You think?
I do.
When you light the lights.
Yeah, the lights are up.
The lights are up.
They're up.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Gotta move
Well,
on to the
and
next one.
maybe
Yeah.
you'll see Evelyn and me at August 4th,
Yeah.
Saturday at the flotilla. That would be quite
Paddling
exciting.
down the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a parasol that I could hold over you.
You're gonna be fishing, baby. Oh yeah. Well, can you hold a rod and
Fishing
the
for
parasol?
I can multitask, Evelyn.
But who feeds the grapes? at that point?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out.
so
huh?
let's finish by saying, if there are people watching that want to be supportive of either the Watershed Coalition
Yes.
or the Alley, Friends of the Alley, what's good contact information, and what are the next things other than, say, the flotilla that they could get engaged with?
Yeah, so you can connect with us via flintriver.org. We're easy to remember, and we're on Facebook and all that other stuff too. And then so we have the flotilla coming up. We have paddles going all through the rest of the summer and into the fall. So if you're interested in getting out onto the river, you just have to contact us. We'll tell you when and where, and we take care of all the rest. We've got the boats, the life jackets.
You have the boats and all
Yeah.
of that. Okay.
Yep, all of that. So it's $15 if we provide a boat, $10 if you bring your own.
Wonderful.
What kind of things will people see if they do that? You mentioned eagles, but I'm sure there's other stuff.
Yeah, eagles, ospreys, deer. We had 2 little fawns the other day popping out a couple of times. They're so cute. Turtles, lots of different types of birds.
It's like you're on a
It wasn't
safari.
Bambi, was
It
it?
might have been, but Bambi had a twin.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, and I bet you have people that have never done this who are amazed that this is in Genesee County.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And it's every single time somebody gets off the river after their first trip, I guarantee you the thing that they say is, "Wow, I had no idea."
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just it can win money on that bet every time.
Oh,
so
my.
it's just a fabulous resource.
And if people want to volunteer, they can also go to flintriver.org.
Yes,
What kind of volunteer activities do you have over the course of a year?
So the next volunteer activity we have coming up is our water quality monitoring, and so it's a really fun way to you get to put your waders on, you get into the river, and what we do is collect all of the bugs that live in the river, and then based on what we collect, we get no, they don't bite or anything like that. But based
I'll
on
meet you on the shore. I don't do the bug thing.
I'll bring
but-
some next time.
Okay, you gonna bring some bugs? Oh. Okay, I'm sorry.
See, you learn things from Rebecca, but you
Listen,
always
I
learn.
can, from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can learn a lot.
So we also, when we're doing that, we need people up on shore taking data too. So
Okay.
that's
But bugs are a good sign, right?
Yeah,
That's a
so-
sign that the river's healthy.
exactly. So based on the
Oh,
suite
really?
of
I didn't know that.
yeah, based on what we find, we have a really
Life.
good sense of
Okay.
of the habitat and the water quality.
Oh,
So if we're
okay.
finding things that are really intolerant to pollution, we know there hasn't been a pollution source there.
Okay.
If we're only finding things like leeches and bloodworms, then we know, oh dear, we have a problem. Time to call in the state and have them do an
Or if you
investigation.
find Blinky, the fish from The Simpsons with like 10 eyes.
You're right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this here. We were talking about bugs, dead or alive?
Oh, they're alive.
They're
Dead
alive.
or alive?
They're
well,
alive.
you said that that's when you know that the water is healthy.
If they're
Right.
alive.
Yeah,
right,
they have to be
Oh,
alive.
they
That's the only way we find
Yeah.
it.
No
Yeah.
dead bugs. So if
No.
I saw some dead bugs, that means that the water.
Well, I mean,
is
everything
healthy.
dies, right?
Well, it's okay. I just want to clear that for my listening audience.
In general,
who
life is
thinks
a positive sign.
Me. Okay. All right.
But
It's really fun.
it's
a
fun.
good- yeah.
I got it. I'm going to do it, Rebecca.
Yay.
Dale and I.
they're still looking for still looking for volunteers for the
Yes,
flotilla.
thank you. We definitely
Oh,
need
yeah.
volunteers that day.
We're gonna
All volunteers get a really cool T-shirt.
Yeah.
All right.
just a T-shirt.
And
Well, then no, I like T-shirts.
So, Kathleen, Alley Fest just ended.
Yes.
You got 12 more months to the next one. If someone wanted to become involved as a volunteer and helping to plan for that, what do you suggest?
they could go to our website or
And what's the website?
which is
Okay.
org, and then but also a
We'll
lot
edit
of the
that.
people on the
Yeah.
on the board and the committee are downtowners, so you could stop into the Torch and talk to Mike Mellenbrink,
Okay.
who's on, or
Okay.
John Hardman from Factory 2. So there's
Stare in your window, looking at you at your
Yeah.
desk.
and I try to help everybody out downtown that needs to be connected in one way or another. So
Sure.
yeah.
And Kitty Cat, you were awesome. I mean, I just love you. I really, really do. And you know, we have a story. We have a bond. You were so awesome to me. You and John, and I just love you guys. And
we love you, and we miss you. We miss you too. But you know, it's important when you're trying to change the narrative of where you live and work and play, to become a community of doers. So everyone can step up and do something positive, whether it's showing someone how to use the parking meter, or showing someone, you know, this is who you talk to when if you want to rent a loft or whatever. But our downtown is expanding, and it's getting better every day. I mean, just when you sit outside for dinner and you see everybody walking around, they're going from restaurant to restaurant, and it's like, wow, 10 years ago there was hardly anybody, and I do think that the uptown developments and the Hagermans and people who took their money, invested it in the buildings to rehab them and renovate them,
did a wonderful job.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of credit, but I wouldn't be living where I was if it wasn't for uptown, and you know.
Well, and a future show, we hope to have Mott faculty from our culinary area, speaking of downtown and exciting things, to talk about the new Culinary Arts Institute, which will be at 2nd and Saginaw.
Right next door to me. And we're very grateful that we are the architectural firm to collaborate and work with
better be. You better be.
So it's gonna be awesome. And I just want to, of course, say that our company is celebrating 50 years in
50
business.
Years.
Downtown.
Family company.
Still a young business, but they're still there.
They're still there. So we've kind of seen it.
50 years. Wow.
So
You've been close over the years, but we're on the upswing.
Yep.
We're on the upswing.
It's all exciting things.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining us.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. Come back and visit us. Please do. Okay.
I would love that.
Maybe after we tour the what is that? The river.
The river. The flotilla.
You're gonna have fun.
We'll come back and we'll talk about the live bugs, not the dead ones. That
maybe you could wear a beekeeper outfit, perhaps, on our.
A beekeeper.
Yeah, that'll shield you from the bugs.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you should do Best Buns, a pop-up somewhere downtown. Just pop up a tent and a table and...
Well, you know...
And some microphones and some buns.
I could just wear my Best Buns.
You could.
You know.
So we'll be back. For those who are watching, shout out to two people.
Oh, yes.
You start with the music.
Yeah, Justin. I know you guys have heard of Justin Scallion.
Scanlon.
Justin Scatlin. You know, he used to play for me downtown, Back to the Bricks. Justin is awesome. This is his music that you're hearing in the background when we leave. But Justin is awesome, and he plays throughout Genesee County. We just want to give him a shout out, and we'll let you know on the next podcast where he's going to be performing.
And the second shout out is to Brandon Townsell, who is a marketing associate in my area at Mott Community College, and he designed the Flint's Best Buns logo, which is, I think, behind us.
Yeah, can you see it? Because all we see is green.
Well, I can see it. No, I can't see it.
You can't see
it? I can't see it.
I'm sure it's there. So thank you to Brandon. We really appreciate his creativity and his design skills. And again, thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you. And we must give a shout out to John Brent Wilson.
Yay.
For having us to come in, invading his space. This is and the name of the space is
Undisclosed Location.
Which is
we're not telling anyone.
Oh, okay.
It's an invite only. This is where Dick Cheney was during 9/11.
Oh my God, my lips are sealed. But thanks, John.
You got to put a picture of Dick Cheney up there.
Oh, we probably should. Peeking over the bump. All right. Well, thank you all, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with some more guests.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Tune in. Thank you.